thousands of friends on Facebook, and one of them just wrote us, Michael Savage, I have a nickname for Henry Waxman of Los Angeles, the congressman who originally pushed health care, but because he was so, let us say, unpalatable to the public that they moved him off the stage. Remember in the beginning you couldn't get rid of Nostroman? Wherever you looked, there he was, pushing his mug around. Then the minute they ran into trouble, they got rid of him. That's how they work, by the way. She said, I've come up with a nickname for Henry Waxman. His name is Nostradamus. Thank you, Eleanor. I appreciate that. Henry Waxman is now Nostradamus. Somebody should be in touch with Eleanor and see if she wants to become a namesmith for my show, because I love that. I've been called names, so why can't I call them back? Names will never harm me. Sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never harm me. Facebook.com/Borders Language Culture. What is that? Otherwise, there's people faking my name. Yeah. The only way to get on my Facebook account is go to Facebook.com/ it's too many things, Borders Language Culture. But be careful, you may be banned in Britain for wanting Borders Language and Culture. Be careful, you may not be allowed into the land of Winston Churchill anymore. Nickname for Henry Waxman, Nostradamus. You heard it first in the Savage Nation. Yeah, that's cute. It's affectionate. What else do you want to talk about? Let's see. We got good callers. Very nice callers. Healthcare, leave me alone already. Gwen in New York, WOR, go ahead, please.
Hello?
Gwen, yes, go on. You're on the radio.
I just want to say that I agree with Dr. Savage. I'm not a staunch conservative like him, but I think it's outrageous.
Wait a minute. I am him.
Right. Okay, I realize that. But I'm saying I think it's outrageous that the UK would ban you. Okay,
you help me by putting it up on your legal website and start getting lawyers who are full of sound and fury about the First Amendment to help me.
Definitely put it up on my Facebook account. I will definitely do that, and I'll start a cause because.
All right. Okay, Gwen. What is your Facebook account name?
Oh well, basically you just do a search, Escort, and you could definitely. It has all of my, it has.
All right. Well, it's a lot of stuff to remember, but if you are a legal analyst, maybe you want to get involved, and I thank you very much. Maybe we'll put her up on michaelsavage.com, where you should go to read the Banned in Britain book and order it over the weekend. It's a good weekend to read the table of contents. It's like a black hole. I don't understand weekends, the weekend psychology. You remember Jean-Luc Godard from the 60s, the avant-garde film director? He did a movie called Weekend. Remember about the madness of the weekend where the French would just get in cars and get into accidents all weekend long? I mean, that is sort of how the weekend looks like to me. What is the weekend for? All week I work for the weekend, and I can't wait for Monday. It's a phenomenon. I can't figure it out, no matter how I try to rationalize, how it works. All week I'm struggling to get through the show, get through the week. It's stressful, terrible. And then by Friday, thank God it's Friday, and you fall off the edge into Saturday and Sunday. I can't wait for the show on Monday. I do a show on Monday. I'm exhausted at the end of the show. And I say to myself, I'm not doing it anymore. It's over. I'm not going to do another radio show. By the morning, I want to do radio again. And no matter how I rationalize this, I can't make a cohesive whole out of this thing. It's amazing to me. I can't make a cohesion out of it. It's not cohesive. It's an up and down phenomenon. But thank God it's Friday. I mean, it's a beautiful weekend. I'll probably do what I do on every weekend, which is a combination of nothing, staring at San Francisco Bay, sleeping and going out of my boat, and eating too much, and drinking too much, and grousing too much, like any other weekend. The boat is the good part of it. Very good part of it. By the way, can I do this on the radio without giving out the name and all? My boat is up for sale because I bought a new boat. And I don't know how to tell you where because you're going to get tire kickers and they're going to bother the dealer. I have the cleanest boat in the world because I'm a fanatic. I'm a maniac with boats. And people don't believe I can keep a boat that's actually better than new. Anyway, it's for sale. I'm not going to sell it on the show. But it's with a boat dealer, so you're never going to meet me anyway. But I don't want you on the boat if you're just going to. I wouldn't even want a liberal to look at it. I'm afraid, like, if they leave, they could leave like a virus on the wheel. Anyway, I'll tell you what we'll do. This Facebook.com/Borders Language Culture. Go to Facebook and tell me you want to buy the boat. Yeah, you want to buy the boat. Oh, sure. Oh, you want to buy the boat. You and the ACL, you want to buy the boat. But I got another boat coming in. I bought it in Florida. It's got to come in through the Panama Canal. It's being shipped on a ship. I can't believe what we have in this world today. They can load a boat on a ship, and it goes through a Panama Canal, and then it gets offloaded in Ensenada, then it gets picked up and driven up, piloted up here to the San Francisco area. It's amazing to me. It's like it moves 3,000 miles, but actually you only drive it for like 500 up the coast. You couldn't have done this 10 years ago. You could float it on a boat. It's because the containerized service. They can put it on a ship. I know a fellow with a large boat. He sent it here by truck. He had to truck it over from Fort Lauderdale, and he said that the trucker said he'll never do it again because the driver had a zigzag to stay off certain interstates, whatever. I think it's less harm on a boat to put a boat on a boat because it floats rather than getting like vibratorial shock. It's not even a word. There's a lot of words people make up, like I just made one up, vibratorial shock. There's no such thing. Like there's a word people you misuse. They say not strategy or strategize. Strategery they use. That's not a word. Where'd that come up from in the media? They're going to do a strategery on something. Did Bush was the first to make it up? There should be a whole lexicon of Bush word, Bushism, strategery. Nuclear. We're going to have a nuclear meltdown unless we put up red lights, green lights, and yellow lights for me to get reelected. You hear that came out today? His former Department of Homeland Security head, what's the gentleman's name? I'm sorry, I'm slipping here. Tom Ridge, who will be on the show next week, has put out a book where he says he was forced to put up red lights, yellow lights, and green lights in order to scare the public into getting George Bush elected. George Bush, that's what a slip of the tongue. George Bush. To get George Bush reelected. To get George Bush reelected in 2004, Tom Ridge, the Homeland Security Director at that time, claims that he was strong-armed into putting up false terror alerts. I knew it then. Don't you remember what I used to say? I said, what, are they kidding me? They want us to vote for someone, so they put up a red alert. We're supposed to now look under our mattresses for an Islamo-terrorist. I knew that they were pushing us our buttons. Don't you remember this? We don't need a Department of Homeland Security. I know it's going to get me in more trouble than I'm already in. Tell me what they've done. I don't understand it. They couldn't stop the H1N1 flu, but I told them to close the border. They called everyone who said that a racist. Now they're telling you to get a flu shot. You have a montage of Bushisms? All right, here's a montage of statements from George Bush.
The United States is looking forward to eating Indian mangoes.
Too many good docs are getting out of business. Too many OBGYNs aren't able to practice their love with women all across this country.
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, fool me once, shame on you. If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
You're working hard to put food on your family.
Then you wake up at the high school level and find out that the literacy level of our children are appalling.
He's learned a lot about ranching since that first year when he tried to milk the horse. What's worse, it was a male horse.
Well, you kind of miss him. This is the thing I found out about presidents after I've been around a while. It was a strange phenomenon. After Clinton left and Bush was in office, I couldn't get used to Bush. George Bush was too Bush for me. I used to look back and say I missed Clinton a little. I'm talking stylistically. Now that Bush is gone, I actually have nostalgia for George Bush. Go figure this out. Imagine I would want George Bush back compared to, well, at least he didn't do the things that this one's doing. I mean, George Bush didn't take away fundamental liberties of Americans. George Bush didn't threaten to turn us into a socialist nation on an express train. He did it on a local. George Bush took us to Moscow on a local. This one is skipping a few stations and trying to do it on an express. All aboard? Do you miss George Bush as much as... What a slip of the tongue that was. Well, that's what they accused him of, didn't they? Beowulf, didn't they accuse him of being too Butch? He was too much like John Wayne. They wanted a kinder, gentler George Bush. And he said, bring it on. Victory, a mission accomplished. Terrible what they're doing in Iraq. After we liberated the Shia, they're blowing them up again. Now the boys, what they go there for? Don't you remember George Bush said that the Iraq war would pay for itself? Remember him and Cheney said the Iraq war would pay for itself for oil? Have we been paid back yet? No. $1 trillion minimum. They're swimming in oil. One of the, I think the fourth largest reserve on earth, or the third or the second. It's in Iraq. You know? No war for oil? Well, wait a minute. We had a war. Can we get some oil and get paid back? That would go a long way towards balancing the budget. And if you want to start declaring payments due, we the taxpayer, okay, Iraq, oil, $1 trillion in oil. Mexico, how many trillions of dollars do you think it's cost America net in medical, legal, whatever care for people who are non-citizens? They're nice people by and large. They're family-oriented by and large. I actually like them as people. I want to make that clear, but we are